Picture this: Florence, 1513. The city is alive with whispers of conspiracy, betrayal, and hidden ambition. Shadows stretch across cobblestone streets, hiding plots that could topple kings. In a small, dimly lit room, a man sits hunched over a desk, quill in hand, his eyes dark with intensity. He's scribbling furiously, capturing observations that could shatter reputations and even reshape the way men think about power, love, and life. This is not a story about ordinary men. It's about the weak, the desperate, the ones who crumble under desire, ambition, or rejection. And it's about the man who dared to study them, not from a safe distance, but in their rawest, most unguarded moments. His name, Niccolo Machiavelli. The discoveries he made are centuries old, but the lessons, more relevant now than ever. By the end of this video, you won't see relationships, authority, or masculinity the same way again. Welcome to the channel, by the way, where we dig deep into history's most controversial figures and extract lessons that actually matter today. And if you're returning, you already know we don't settle for fluff. We go deep. Today, we're peeling back the layers of Machiavelli, revealing truths that most people would rather ignore. Truths about weakness, desire, and the patterns that destroy men over and over again. The man behind the legend. Before we get to the shocking patterns Machiavelli uncovered, we need to understand him. Niccolo Machiavelli was no idle philosopher. He didn't theorize life from an armchair. He lived in chaos. Political assassinations, foreign invasions, collapsing republics, these were the arenas of his life. He served as a senior official in the Florentine Republic, negotiating with kings, parrying with popes, commanding militias, and navigating the deadliest political waters in Renaissance Italy. But in 1512, everything collapsed. The Medici returned to power. Machiavelli, aligned with the previous government, was arrested, tortured, and exiled. Imagine losing everything you built: power, respect, influence, and being sent away to a lonely farmhouse outside Florence. Most men would have broken. Most men would have sunk into bitterness or despair. But Machiavelli, he did the unexpected. He turned exile into obsession, pouring himself into the study of human nature with relentless intensity, determined to understand why men fail and why kingdoms fall. The unconventional research method. Here's where it gets fascinating. Machiavelli's travels, both before and after exile, took him to brothels, not just as a client, but as a careful observer, a student of behavior. The women he met became his unwitting professors in what could be called the University of Human Weakness. Letters and contemporaneous accounts suggest he spoke with hundreds of prostitutes across Italy. Some say as many as 400. The exact number isn't the point. The point is the patterns he discovered. These women saw men stripped bare at their most vulnerable. Wealthy merchants, soldiers, politicians, and noblemen all shed their public facades in private rooms. Machiavelli recognized that no council, no battlefield, no court could reveal male psychology like this. What he observed would form the foundation of his most enduring lessons about weakness, strength, and the human condition. The first terrifying truth: weak men worship what they cannot control. Machiavelli's sources told him this again and again. The weakest men, those most desperate, insecure, and pathetic, did not respect women. They pedestalized them, placing them on untouchable thrones, while groveling beneath them. They confessed their insecurities, begged for affection, and became emotionally dependent on women whose attention they purchased. They returned week after week, sinking into debt, clinging to the illusion that devotion bought meaning. And here's a striking parallel. In politics, weak princes acted the same way. They craved approval from foreign powers, sacrificing sovereignty for fleeting warmth or acceptance. Just as men in brothels surrendered their dignity for a mirage of intimacy, weak rulers surrendered their power for illusions of friendship. And when betrayed, they were shocked, unable to comprehend that respect and authority are commanded, not begged for. The second truth: the illusion of control through giving. Many men didn't go to brothels primarily for pleasure. They craved the sensation of being needed. They showered women with extravagant gifts, promises, and inflated gestures of rescue, but the prostitutes immediately saw through it. Excessive giving wasn't generosity, it was desperation disguised as power. Machiavelli recognized the same behavior in leadership. Weak rulers attempt to buy loyalty, overextend resources, and create dependence. People do not respect endless generosity, they exploit it. Strong men, conversely, give and take in proportion, maintaining dignity and self-respect. The third truth, weak men cannot tolerate disinterest. A weak man confronted with rejection becomes obsessed. He will overpay, overinvest, and overpromise to someone fundamentally indifferent. Strong men? They adjust strategically or disengage. Machiavelli saw the same pattern in politics. Weak princes obsessed over alliances with nations that openly scorned them, sacrificing power for approval that would never come. Strong leaders focus only where investment yields, real returns where mutual respect and benefit exist. The fourth truth, weak men confuse submission with love. Some men sought surrender, not partnership. They longed to hand over control, convincing themselves that submission equaled devotion. Yet many wielded ruthless power in public, tyrannizing peasants, exploiting workers, abusing positions. Machiavelli concluded that men lacking inner strength oscillate between domination and submission, never finding consistent self-possessed power. The same men might be cruel in one setting and submissive in another, always driven by circumstance rather than stability. True strength, Machiavelli argued, is consistent. It comes from within, independent of context. The fifth truth, weak men cannot distinguish fantasy from reality. Prostitutes performed roles, the innocent, the fiery, the dominant, but the weakest clients mistook performance for truth. They made life choices based on illusions, neglected responsibilities, and suffered devastating consequences when reality intruded. Machiavelli observed the same flaw in political leaders, who fell for propaganda and mythology, often leading to ruin. Strong men understand the line between theater and reality, wielding illusion as a tool rather than a trap. The principle of virtu. From all of these observations, Machiavelli distilled his philosophy, virtu. Often mistranslated as virtue, it actually signifies power of character, strength, and excellence, the exact qualities that neutralize human weakness. Self-possession. A man with virtu doesn't seek external validation. His worth is grounded in his abilities, not applause. Proportional reciprocity. Give and receive in balance. Avoid overgiving to buy favor or undergiving to dominate. Respect is earned through equilibrium. Abundance mentality. Focus energy where it matters. Obsessing over rejection is a strategic waste. Integrated personality. Strength is consistent, regardless of whether others are weaker or stronger. Stability comes from within. Clear-eyed realism. Understand the difference between performance and reality. Use illusion strategically. Never fall victim to it. Why this matters today. These centuries-old lessons are not just history, they are reality. Social media amplifies worship and obsession. Men ruin themselves financially chasing influencers or creators, convinced that generosity buys connection. They swing between online dominance and personal submission, unable to separate fantasy from truth. Weak men weaken societies. They follow demagogues, surrender agency, and create chaos. The solution? Cultivate virtu. Confront your weaknesses brutally. Do you crave validation from those who don't respect you? Stop. Do you give excessively, hoping for appreciation? Give proportionally or not at all. Do you obsess over disinterest? Redirect energy strategically. Do you swing between domination and submission? Find your center. Do you confuse fantasy with reality? See things clearly. Strength is not domination. It is self-possession, strategic thinking, and unflinching realism. The Prostitutes of Renaissance Italy revealed patterns of failure in their most concentrated form. Machiavelli translated those patterns into a philosophy of power that endures because it confronts raw human psychology without flinching. The bottom line, weakness follows patterns. It worships what it cannot control, tries to buy what must be commanded, obsesses over rejection, swings between extremes, and mistakes illusion for reality. Strength, like virtu, can be learned. You are not doomed to repeat the mistakes of centuries of weak men. You can choose differently. You can become self-possessed, strategic, and reality-based. The question is, will you rise to your potential, or will you continue following the patterns that have destroyed weak men for centuries? If this video challenged you, that's good. It means growth is still possible. Hit like if you found value, subscribe for more deep dives into history's raw truths, and comment below, which of these patterns of weakness do you recognize in yourself? Change begins with acknowledgement. Stay strong, stay strategic, stay real. The world rewards men who see clearly, act decisively, and master themselves.